Okay, I'm just out for a walk when I'm going to make this video diary, and the scenery might be a little bit more interesting than looking at my head again. This is really just an add-on to the Final Red video diary. I suppose what I have to add really was the writing of the artist statement was a real eye-opener. And I suppose what we had said very early in the course, that our writing should be nearer to our making, became very evident, and the difficulty of that became very evident. I suppose the reason I had made the piece I made is because I couldn't write or say it initially. And even when I wrote the artist statement, I wrote around what I was doing as opposed to writing about the actual piece, and it was Susan who pointed that out to me. So I then had to try and tackle writing about the piece itself. And of course, after that, the exhibition was sort of a surreal experience, really. It was very strange to actually have feedback from people that I suppose I have admired for such a long time, to actually have them talk to me about my work. And it was, as I say, very strange to have, lifelong friends, Anya McGillicuddy, talk to me about my piece, as opposed to usually our conversation would be, maybe about famous painters or something, but certainly not related to anything that I had done. Likewise, I would have conversations with Lorraine Wall about art, and it was very different to have her talk to me about making art, and about how you preserve your own headspace, and maybe not letting people inside your head so much, and just having, taking advice from her, and she talking to me as a fellow artist, as opposed to usually our conversations would revolve around other people's artwork or her artwork. So I suppose the really all I want to say, I suppose, about it is that, it has given me a lot of confidence to actually continue making. And I think I posted just before the last video diary a drawing I had done straight after the last face-to-face in the college, and it was one of my father's hands in prayer with the rosary beads. And here, actually, in this graveyard, which is just adjacent to my house, last Sunday we had the blessing of the graves, and there's an elderly man who lives near me, and he's actually in his 90s and arrived on his tractor, and he was saying the rosary for the blessing of the graves with all of us, and he had his worn beads in his hand, and his fingers were so used to the movement. And I had my camera in the house, and I asked him if I could, video him, and just his hands, and he had no problem with that. So I am starting there again, I suppose, and I just know that this start in Rev has brought me back into making art and into a place I want to be, and I know I'm going to continue. And in a chat with Trudy van der Elsen going back a while, she had, while she was in my little workspace, she had suggested that maybe the Red Couch area in Innistim would make a nice place for me to have a little solo exhibition. So that's something that I must consider. But I think if I do have a solo exhibition, I think here in my own community is where I would like to first show it, maybe in the local hall or in something like that, or maybe in my own studio, clean it out, and maybe do another, but a more a proper exhibition. Having watched Maria in action, it was very enlightening to see how intuitively and yet with great logic she arranged the pieces. So that's about all I have to say, really. As I say, this is just an add-on to my final Rev Diary, and that's it.